Good evening. The time is 5 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and call our work session to order. Our first item of business is new EPA requirements, Tennessee American Water presentation with External Affairs Manager Daphne Kirksey and Director of Operations, Megan Catalina.
Yep, she should be here any moment.
Wonderful. Okay, Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I'll just give a brief bio. Daphne has been with Tennessee American for over 12 years. She is the External Affairs Manager. I feel like we're meeting a rock star tonight. She is responsible for customer communication, media relations, and community engagement. Joining us shortly will also be Megan Catalina. She's been with Tennessee American for over 13 years. She is the Director of Operations and responsible for leading operational areas of water treatment, production, field operations, and maintenance. And also, at the request of Director Perry, we invited the other water utility that serves the city of Red Bank, which is Hickson Utility. And seated right here is Andrew Vincent, the Hickson Utility District Operations Manager. And welcome, Megan.
Hi. Yes, thank you.
So, Daphne, over to you. Come on up, if you don't mind.
Yep. So thank you all so much for allowing us this time today, and we're really glad to have this time with you to explain what this new requirement is from the EPA related to lead service line, and also basically ask you to help us get the word out to residents about it. Okay, just a few little overview about Tennessee American Water. If you're not familiar with us, we're the water provider since 1887 in this area. And you can see on the map here that off of the one plant, all these municipalities are served, including Red Bank. And we have 1,400 miles of pipes in our system. And that's kind of what we're focusing on today, is the pipes in our system, particularly the service line, which comes off of our mains. Okay, so the service lines are the line that go from the main, the big pipe in the road that goes to the residence or the business. And of that of that service line, one portion is owned by the utility up to the meter, and then past the meter to the home, that's the portion that is owned by the customer. Those lines are generally these types of materials that are shown there. You have galvanized, copper, plastic, or lead. And what we're talking about today is this new requirement with the EPA to identify what all those materials are. And that is a really large undertaking because we don't keep records of the customer-owned portion of it. And we have to eliminate as many of those unknowns as possible. And so that is part of what we're going to be asking you all to help us get the word out about. So how we got here is that in 1991, the United States Environmental Protection Agency published their first lead and copper rule, setting standards, measurable, actionable standards for lead in drinking water. Prior to that, in 1988, lead had been banned as a plumbing material, specifically in the state of Tennessee. It was in June. So if a home is newer, or 1988 or newer, they won't have any lead for sure. In the 1970s, American Water was already in a lot of utilities were not even using lead anymore at that point in time as a material. And so today I do want to definitely emphasize to you all that our water remains in compliance with all standards, including lead. So the water remains clean and safe. And we also participate in a voluntary program called the safe drinking water. And we have achieved that an award there for over 25 years at this point. So something we're very proud of because we go above and beyond what is required of us for the EPA on that. So in 2024, the EPA made some improvements to the lead and copper rules. And one of the portions of that rule is to take an inventory of all the materials. So we have to know what our materials are on the utility owned side, and we have to know what is on the customer owned side. And we have until November of 2027, and this is for all water utilities, which is why Hickson Utility is here as well, to submit an inventory to the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation and EPA with what is in it, and then based on that, we'll have to create a 10-year plan for removal of any lead. And then part of what we're doing is like communicating frequently and transparently about this. So in 2024 and in 2025, ourselves and Hickson would have done this as well, sent a letter to customers informing them what their what their service line is made out of. And also, we have an interactive map. Do y'all have a map as well? Yeah. Okay, and let's see here. I'm going to turn it over to Megan because this is her world and she can tell you a little bit about what we are doing in terms of our inventory.
Hello. So we started this process many years ago, probably around 2019, when we saw that this legislation was coming down with EPA. And like Daphne said, we've kept records of our side of the material. So we went back to all of our tap records. Those date back into the late 1800s. Our earliest tap that we have record of is like 1891, I think. So very old service lines. And we digitized all those and created, Excel files so we can see ours. We also have extensive detailed like service line books. And what we got out of that was, really there are two main time frames that lead was used in our service area. The first time frame was really from about 1919 to about 1923. She's got it for me. Like I don't even memorize it. Okay, 1923. That's when it started to 1929. That's when we really saw lead starting to get used. It was in combination with galvanized. So we do have some lead on our side from that time. And then really we went away from lead after 1929 and went completely to, we started using copper and galvanized together. What we ended up seeing our second round was in the war period from 1940 to 1944. But we didn't use the traditional lead. We used this alloy called tubaloy. And it was like a compound used, and that contains lead. So that will count as lead, but it wasn't your traditional lead. It will look a little different to people that see it. And so those are really our two time frames. As Daphne was saying, our water remains safe. We do not have a lead problem at all in Tennessee American Water, but we have identified, some lead lines on our side. Now, we still don't know what is on the customer side. We don't keep any tap information on the customer side as that was not owned by us. So really that is completely all unknown to us, except anything after the 1988 lead ban. Then EPA is like, yes, you can count those as not lead since we banned it, but anything before that is really unknown to us on the customer side. We can't really assume that they have what we have because other people were installing it. So as I said, that's kind of why we're getting the word out, because now we have to turn to the customers and ask for their help to help identify their material on their service line. Or you didn't just scroll. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So,
We have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Did I hear a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, I said bless you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So to try to complete that, like we say in all the communication that we send out, this is ever evolving. We're always finding new information, with verifications in the field or new records. So this is always evolving, but to further our, work on the unknown side is, on the website that Daphne mentioned earlier, they have, all of our customers have the ability to self-report on there. And it is a survey that they can take. And they go on, we do ask them for a photo of some lines that they can see in their pipes, their crawl space, their basement, whatever it may be. And they fill out a form to help identify their material, and they can submit that back. And that goes to a record, that counts as a record for us with the EPA, that we now know that their service line, what it is. And then we've started, our goal is to start some extra canvassing to our customers, going door to door, and asking them to, if they would allow them to come in and help canvass and identify their main line or their service line, that would be great. We could do that for them. Or if they just have questions about how to self-identify themselves, we could let them help answer that. But that's really the next step, is to grab more and more information on our customer side as we can. Also with the EPA, the next step to the inventory is records, but then we have to do a verification. So the EPA's records are great, but now you have to verify your inventory. And what that looks like for us is taking a random sample of our area and going around and doing tests, or not tests, but potholes, or these small excavation, little holes near the meter to identify their service line. And so there's going to be some communication about that to our customers, that we're going to have to go out and verify through sample sites of our customers to say, hey, we thought it was copper, look, it's copper. And we have to do that. The EPA has a statistical analysis of how many you have to do for the area. So we are going to start doing that and sending communication around the Chattanooga system. We're doing it in another district right now outside of Chattanooga, and then we'll be moving to the Chattanooga area hopefully later this year to start that.
So in the information that we provided today, you have a copy of the presentation. You have a copy of a stakeholder toolkit, but it's also available online on our dedicated lead facts website. So there's social media on there. There's suggested language for like an email blast, if that's something you're willing to do, just to ask customers to self-report. And also in your toolkit is a copy of the letter that all of us water utilities have to send out following a template from Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation with the annual notice of what the customer materials are made of. And I know that I was talking to Mr. Vincent earlier, and they never used lead on their side, but they don't know what the customer side is. So they still also have to complete inventory, because EPA views it as, if you don't know a portion of it, the customer portion, and the whole thing is considered unknown. And that triggers a whole nother process. With it. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that.
No, so we're obviously have to do by the same thing they have to go by. So we're really doing the same thing. We don't have a map that the customer can use, but we do have a map that we have for ourselves. We have all of our unknowns mapped out, and we have started potholing and doing that to get rid of those. But it's obviously, I mean, as y'all know, it's a moving target. I just went to a meeting last Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's still really no answers to it, so it's a moving target every time we hear something new. But yeah, we're really just potholing down all of our unknowns.
So are you all having to do a complete inventory of all of your customer lines?
So the more records you have, the better. And that's, I think, what he's alluding to. It's a moving target. The EPA, takes case by case of what your sampling looks like. And you have to get each of your verification samples approved by the EPA and TDEC to move forward with verification of it. And really the goal is to identify where lead is. So we have the ability to use like, hey, look, we have lead in this area, and this is the time frame that lead was going in. We should really pay attention to those houses, and to use that statistical analysis and geographical analysis is the EPA is all for that. So no, I would not say that the expectation is that every person reports their service line, but the more we have, the better it is. So.
And in the instance that you identify or they identify that there's lead in their line, if it's on the customer side, it's up to them to replace that. Is that correct or no?
That's the target.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're really focused on the inventory. That is something that we would definitely look into on, whether or not we could recover for the cost of that. Because we think that would be the right thing to do, but right now we're focusing on completing the inventory, this first step.
Okay. Director Slay, Leslie Slay, she's our Director of Community Development, has a question.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, and I'm sure you've already received that from customers. What is the ramifications for them? It's one thing to identify, it's also another to scare private property owners.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Well,
what's the intended outcome? What's that next phase look like? That would be my
Yeah.
concern. Those inquiries would come to us, I have no doubt.
yeah, so our water remains clean and safe. It does meet all standards. If we were to remove like a lead service line, there is a trigger from the EPA for standard to provide a water pitcher filter to the customer that they're to use for the next 6 months. And we also provide them information about flushing the water. Also, that's just something we recommend in general.
Do you
can
provide a water test? Say, if you're gonna knock on someone's door and ask them to self-report, are you providing a water test for them at that same time?
We don't provide it by request. We do have, like a base of samples, folks that are in our system already for sampling for lead and copper. We've been doing that since 1991. And then on our website, we have a list of local or sort of local ones in Cleveland, ones in Knoxville, places that, provide the tests. And we definitely recommend those tests rather than like just, I think, then we'll kind of get it Home Depot ready.
I was gonna mention about the replacement thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all heard, from my understanding, right now, they're telling us it is the utility's responsibility to replace that line, even if it's on the private homeowner side. So from the house to the meter, if we find there's lead, unless something changes, as of right now, we would have to replace that, which is kind of something we're fighting back on, because we're really not supposed to be allowed to do work on someone's private property. We have the EPA and then they want to tell us that we have to, so it's kind of the
Just
state's kind of fighting back on that.
Okay.
And, like I said, that's something that's not really set in stone right now, and
It's a little gray in the rules from EPA.
So even when you guys are going out right now, and if somebody does a test on their own line and they find lead and they report that to you, nothing is happening with that?
Yes.
So if they self-report the material is lead, we document that, and that's what we're supposed to do, because
Right.
it is not affecting the water quality. Their water quality remains safe. So that gets them in our inventory. The next phase of that starts in November of 27, where they say, you have 10 years now to get the lead out and replace. That is where, because it's 2 years away, they're not solidified in the mechanisms to do all the replacements in that 10 years. So we're waiting, but that's why Daphne says we've got to focus on the inventory, because come 28, we need to be able to tell the EPA, this is who has lead and who doesn't, so we can complete and safely get out all the lead in the system, because that's the ultimate goal. So that's why we need people to do it. But in the mechanism of how it happens, we're not quite sure.
Yeah.
So we'll
Okay.
keep everyone posted for sure and communicate it, but not sure.
Is Leslie? Also, if you go on our, Ledfax portion of the website, there's a lot of information there. So if you have additional information, questions after looking at it, feel free to reach out. You're welcome.
Any further questions?
Is there any way the customer could learn from the home builder the materials that were placed in the house?
Well, you know, we're really only interested in houses earlier than 88, so if the home builders are still around.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
guessing they're not.
Code regulation changed
Yeah.
in response to that, so.
Okay.
It's not a concern now, like they say, in the late eighties, it's those older homes, and again, they probably changed hands a couple of times, and. builders
and then you
probably
have
aren't around.
plenty of them in here.
And when we think about our inventory, and we know it's different, so I can't, but, you know, there has to be some correlation with what materials were available to us as a company and to the homeowner. You know, we really didn't see lead put in after 44. So it's definitely your older homes, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very
Yeah,
much.
thank you guys.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Moving on to more fun stuff, our preview of our budget schedule, Mr. Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you calling this fun stuff. Yeah, it is good stuff. So I placed at the dais for you my memo, which typically comes out early March, so right on time, previewing the dates and circumstances around the upcoming FY27 budget cycle. So I'll just talk us through this one-page memo that you have before you. We envision 4 budget workshops, and we'll issue a budget workshop certificate for those who attend all 4. And going through the timeline, basically April is going to be where we present, and May is going to be where we deliberate and decide in kind of a macro sense. So talking us through April, on Tuesday the 7th, which is a regular commission meeting date, we'll start early, 4:30, and we'll have budget workshop number 1 and budget 101. And instead of going through a bunch of paper this year, we'll pull it up and we'll walk through what we have on the web, because the budget materials we put for the current fiscal year, FY26, on the web is really a rich trove of information. So we'll walk through what's on the web and orient everybody to the nature of the budget, or budgets, plural, and our presentation of all that information on the web for the current year. Tuesday, 14 April begins the first of the extraordinary budget meeting times, which is not normally a commission meeting date of the 14th. Budget workshop 2. I will provide the budget estimate. So CFO Pickle is going to be working very, very hard between now and then, as is a lot of the rest of us, to pull that together. You'll also hear from the Chief of Police, the Fire Chief, and the Court Clerk, and citizen comments at the end, as always. Tuesday, the 21st of April, that will be, again, during a regular work session time, and we'll start early. And we'll have budget workshop number 3, and we'll focus on capital improvement plan. So it'll be our first look at that. And we're working very, very hard to pull that together into a good presentation, a look at our capital improvement plan through the lens of the budget. Then Tuesday the 28th, this is an extraordinary meeting date, not normally when we meet. We will hear from Public Works, Community Development, and Administration and Finance, and then the citizens. Then into May, and this is where we deliberate and decide. May 5th is a regular work session, 4:30, and that's open, for open discussion amongst the commissioners about what all they've seen and heard to date. Tuesday, the 12th of May is held open, so there's nothing scheduled, and there's not a planned meeting at this point. But as we get through the process, we may decide to schedule a meeting, so we will hold that date open. Tuesday, the 19th is a regular commission meeting date, and we propose the first reading of the FY27 proposed budget. Tuesday, the 26th of May is open, and I'm sure hoping we don't have to use that date because it's tight on the holiday. But it is nevertheless a Tuesday in May. We don't plan on using that date, but it's out there should we need it. And then we propose that Tuesday, the 2nd of June, at the regularly scheduled commission meeting is when we have the second reading and hopefully the FY '27 adopted budget. So that's a quick overview of the process. There's some websites listed there in the hot link. The presentation of the current year budget on our website, and the Tennessee Comptroller also has a lot of good information on the Comptroller website. Mayor and commissioners, if you see anything about the schedule that doesn't work for you, communicate with me in the next week. I think this is our game plan, and we'll get started. If we need to make changes, we can.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, moving on to item 3 on our consent agenda, authorization of an MOU with HGH Construction for the donation, design, and construction of a natural surface trail connecting Pine Breeze Road to White Oak Park, resolution number 26-1876. Mr. Gravy.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, commissioners. Tonight I am presenting a resolution that is authorizing an MOU between the City of Red Bank and HGH Construction for the full donation of planning, design, and construction services to create a natural service trail connecting Pine Breeze Road to White Oak Park. This project represents a significant public benefit, enhancing neighborhood access to an existing park and contributing to the city's long-term goals for improved pedestrian connectivity, outdoor recreation, and community wellness. The donation eliminates financial burden to the city while expanding its trail network and strengthening its parks and recreation system. Under the MOU, HGH Construction will provide the design, labor, materials, and construction services, while the city maintains oversight authority through the plan review, construction inspection, and final acceptance process. The agreement also clarifies standards for safety, quality, and insurance to ensure the project is delivered responsibly and in alignment with city expectations. For example, we have in the MOU that they will have a certified PTDA, certified trail builder with them to help with the design, construction, and through that process, the same standards that we hold ourselves to for at Godsey Ridge, for example. With that, I would like to invite up John Copel, who is heading this project for HGH Construction, to talk a little bit more about it, and if the commission has any questions.
Sure. Well, first, I'd like to say great haircut.
Yeah, thank you.
It looks really good, doesn't it? This has been something that Holly and I talked about a long time ago, or at least when we first started our development at Pine Breeze Road. So all the stars finally aligned with you guys doing the stuff at Godsey Ridge. We had the availability to approach Eddie Kessler, who's doing your work. We're impressed with him, and we had him come over and look at the project and felt like he was a great fit for us. What it offers us is, as a neighborhood, we can offer it as an amenity, which is direct connectivity to a park. There's another neighborhood on that ridge that might enjoy that same luxury. We'd love to see that, but what we're doing is, our goal is to provide a trail that's walkable or rideable that would let our residents and anybody that's frankly on Pine Breeze Road, they could utilize that, and it would spill them out sort of in the back of the park, on the upper terrace at the back of the field, away from the pavilion area there. So it sort of puts it in a good spot. It gives them the ability to either go toward the pavilion, or they can go to the dog park or whatever, but it keeps them off of that road too, which, as you all maybe know, I mean, it's a pretty tough road to be riding or walking on. So, and there are no sidewalks. So we felt like it would be a great amenity, and this was the best tack for us to take. So that's what we're offering. At the end of the day, it's probably about a $15,000 amenity that we're donating to the city. So, hopefully you guys will see it in your judgment to let's do it. Yeah, any questions?
The field you're talking about is basically that upper soccer field?
Yeah, the soccer field is,
Okay.
puts you out at the back of the upper soccer field.
Perfect.
And so the city will help with painting a crosswalk. HGH Construction will, finish out their sidewalk connectivity to the road, and then the city will finish out the crosswalk section ourselves to make sure that it meets all ADA standards and other signage pieces that we need to put in.
One other piece of this that I didn't mention. So when Eddie did his overall plan, he, like every trail builder, I guess,
He was real excited.
he got very excited and creative and really sort of over delivered. He actually gave Jeffrey sort of our first iteration, which was, a parking lot at the top of the ridge and connectivity to Hill Point, and then our connectivity, additional connectivity from the top of that field to the dog park, and then from there to the other trails. So I mean,
That's what we're going with, right?
well, so that's already been drawn out. So if you guys get inspired and find any money hanging around, we'd love to see more done.
Jeffrey's the guy who's good at that.
We feel like this is a good, good start. So
If I could use some vernacular that I keep trying to put on it is a grant ready project for the rest of the trail system.
there you go. Good job.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you, Ms. Thank you so much. Any questions?
I do have a question. There's a lot of enthusiasm at the neighbors, development up there, Hill Point subdivision. They have a HOA. Has anybody with the HOA been approached about this segment that's been drawn out that would move from this trail system to that?
Not with the official trail system that they have designed. Before we take full custody of this plan, this resolution and MOU need to be signed first. We have talked with the HOA in the past about connectivity pieces, and they are very interested in figuring out some of those aspects. A lot of it comes down to priority and funding from our city side, and that's why John and HGH wanted to step in and step up to make this happen quicker for their development, as it is not in our portfolio of a top priority.
Right. I just wonder now that it has been drawn out, if there's a dollar sign attached to that portion of the trail, if that could be pitched to the Hill Point HOA, as in case they're interested in funding that segment of the trail for themselves.
Communications to be followed for sure.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Copel. I remember our conversation back in 2021 about shortly after our election, our initial election, about connectivity for your neighborhood down to White Oak Park. Wow, excited to see that. Finally.
To be fair, it's a much shorter gap than the Godsey Ridge plan.
Yes, yes.
It still gives good exercise.
Yeah, excellent. Any other questions about the MOU? Okay, we will move on to item 4 on our consent agenda, approve a memorandum of understanding between Southern Off-Road Bicycle Association, SORBA, and the city for trail maintenance and bike-related programming, resolution number 26-1877. Mr. Brady.
Thank you, Mayor. We are very excited about this resolution and MOU as it formalizes a growing partnership between the city of Red Bank and SORBA Chattanooga. SORBA has primarily supported trail work and volunteer trail days in areas such as Stringer's Ridge, of which Red Bank does own a portion. They are very eager to expand that involvement and work more directly on Red Bank specific trail projects, including new and emerging trail systems such as Godsey Ridge. SORBA has also demonstrated increasing engagement with the city, including providing us a letter of commitment for our Project Diabetes grant that was awarded to build Godsey Ridge. And the MOU reflects the city's support for continuing to build that relationship. The MOU grants permissions for SORBA to conduct volunteer trail maintenance and bike-related programming with prior city approval and ongoing communication, ensuring that the city maintains full authority over the activities conducted on its trail systems. The agreement outlines clear roles, responsibilities, and coordination requirements so that all maintenance and programming align with city standards, environmental best practices, and community priorities, while allowing an expert in the trail field, SORBA, to come and help us in an area where Red Bank has not been in the business of trails previously. So I would like to, with a heartfelt thank you, invite up Sunshine Lovelace, the first aid director of SORBA, to come up and chat for a second.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. We're really excited about this. Apparently I came to the right meeting. Trails. Yeah, long-standing opportunity. We're finally in a position, our organization, we've been all volunteer based for 22 years. First paid staff, we now have the bandwidth to be able to cultivate new relationships with community partners, such as Red Bank. Really excited to see the progress being made towards trail development right here in my backyard as a new resident, and continue to help maintain those trails after they are in the ground, and ensure that that remains a quality experience for the residents to enjoy.
Any questions for the commission?
I see we have a women's trail work party scheduled March 8th from 9 a.m. to noon. Is that related to this? Excellent.
Yeah, we'll be working with Eddie. He's gonna oversee that trail work day. We saw it as an opportunity to get women involved in trail maintenance and building, and see a project before it's actually been opened up to the public, which gets people really excited to see kind of behind the scenes before that curtain is unveiled. So we have 20 women signed up. That is all pending weather actually holds out for us. It never fails. We plan all women's only event. Mother Nature does not like the weather.
Which is all right, we can always do a rain day if needed.
We can do a reschedule if needed. So yeah, we have an emerging membership base and volunteer base, and I think providing those sorts of opportunities go a long way in reaching that community, getting them activated.
I would also like to follow up with that the educational and programming aspect that SORBA will be able to provide is something that Red Bank would not be able to do on their own with our current staffing or expertise. So partnerships like this will help folks get educated and also utilize our trail systems such as Godsey Ridge. So we'll be planning, look throughout once this project is completed, that we'll be partnering with SORBA for different educational and learning opportunities of how to ride bikes.
For all ages, correct?
Yes.
Love that.
Considering our parks department is and Tegan, it's something you and Tegan, the two of you, wouldn't be able to handle on your own. Much appreciated.
Well, we're excited to see the traffic cars that go in. That's one opportunity. And the trails, dirt surface trails are another opportunity. So yeah.
Do you have a cap on the workshop or something? A number of participants?
20 is.
It is full.
It
It's
is
full. Okay. I won't promote it then.
Which is why we're not pushing it out.
You can still promote it, but yes, it is. Yeah.
I have a second one. I have a second one because it's gonna be successful with full group.
So we work with 11 different land managers across 13 different trail systems. So we are spread a little thin as well, and wanting to make sure that we are kind of picking a different one each month, and making sure we have qualified trail crew leads that are trained, not just setting volunteers loose with shovels and pick mattresses and letting them go willy-nilly on the trail, making sure that they're being supervised appropriately, so that that volunteer labor is done appropriately on the trail systems. But yes, we would like to schedule as many as we feasibly can for the city.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
very excited. Alright. Moving on to item 5 on the consent agenda, approve the FY 26 audit contract with Johnson Murphy and Wright for $57,200, resolution number 26-1878, Director Perry.
Say how they have done this right in the past, but you know, we can look for another auditor this year. So the basic audit fee is $45,650, and when they do the municipal charter, the counts crosswalk is where they condense all the data into the format the state wants it in, $4,200. And then because of the federal funding we still are receiving, there is an additional $7,350 for the single audit. So it's a $57,200 bill this year.
That's for the ARPA funds.
ARPA, and then whatever we start getting the state metrics for all.
Okay, so that will kind of be ongoing probably for a while. Okay. Any questions, comments about this agenda item?
They seem like they're good at their jobs. So I'll value that.
Yeah. All right,
So,
absolutely. All right. Wonderful. Moving on to item 6 on our consent agenda, application for certificate of compliance for the Spritzeria located at 3912 Dayton Boulevard, resolution number 26-1879. Director Perry.
It's for the Spritzeria, they will, also, they've also applied for a beer permit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do their certificate of compliance at the same time, that way when you do go apply for their liquor license with the state, they've already got that step finished, they don't have to worry about it. They have passed all backgrounds we've done.
I'm gonna make a public apology. I misread a statement on there and I can be given an opportunity to redo that or change my answer and sign my initials on it.
Yeah, this is not the original one, I did it.
Okay. It was brought to my attention this evening before the meeting and I
So
apologize.
she misread a question and said no, and she should have said yes. Yes, and having good morals.
Oh, I see.
So, other than that, everything came out clean.
They have excellent morals.
Okay. Okay, any questions or further comments? Nope. All right, thank you. Item 7 on our consent agenda, agreement with Paycom for HR and payroll management for $16,169.10 per year, resolution number 26-1881. Director Perry.
And actually, he recalculated it, it came back at $16,078.76. So I'll have to adjust that. I
Say
found
it again,
16,078.76. This is, right now we have my benefits channel. It's kind of clunky. It's still a lot of printed off signage. You fill it out and rescan it and go in and put it where it has to be. And then payroll is with local government. It's kind of an antiquated system. It's cheaper, but we need a lot more out of our payroll system than we're getting. So Paycom is gonna offer, like, they'll do our payroll and tax filings. We have workflows for approving checks, documents and checklists, manager on the go. It'll do time and attendance, benefits administration, COBRA, enhanced ACA, leave tracking, reporting is going to be phenomenal with this, personnel action forms. That's just for the staff. For the employee, it can streamline background checks and drug screens for pre-hires. And they can submit their own paperwork to the federal government, which I currently have to do by hand. A lot of self-onboarding, an employee self-service, and they can even ask for their time off through this system. So that total is $16,078.76. Local gov, from what I can tell, the payroll portion is $7,750 a year. And it's limited because of the manual data entry, paper timesheets, no timekeeping and attendance, limited data retrieval capabilities. We put a lot of information in that we just can't get back out. It's not capable of doing it. And then my benefits channel, it's annually $4,861.50. Again, like I said, it's time consuming. I mean, it has consolidated some things, but very time consuming, not user friendly on the front end or the back end, and also very clunky reporting. So the difference is going to be $3,465.26. But we feel that just the time it's going to save for personnel and the added benefits we'll get from it will make that additional cost very warranted. So in summary, if we can adjust to Paycom, it will eliminate manual, repetitive, and error-prone processes to allow the finance team to focus on strategic, higher-value initiatives, better, faster, and more informed decision-making. It'll empower our employees to manage their time and efforts more efficiently, help the city stay in compliance with labor laws, tax codes, and regulations, and offer better data security. This would be an FY27 purchase. There would be a slight $1,600 setup fee and go ahead and start it so we can implement it in July FY '27, and again, this is all subject to Arnie approving the contract.
This sounds like this should have been a part of our digital transformation, like, approach, and maybe it has been, it's just the kind of.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
This
Yes,
was
it is.
delayed by the belt tightening.
Yes, correct. Yes, and I understand that. But it's kind of silly that you all are still doing paper timesheets in 2026. So I'm very grateful that you were able to find something like this.
And they're local, so that's even better.
So also we'll be saving money, not having to print out on a lot of paper that we're having to do right now. So some supply savings there. Yeah, this sounds really great, and like it will help streamline a lot of things for everyone. All of the staff is always fantastic.
Our number one expense as a government is salaries and personnel, so even if a piece of software is more expensive than another piece of software, if it saves, even a few hours a week of labor, then we could see a net, efficiency benefit there.
All right, any other questions or comments about this new software? Okay, wonderful. We will at least temporarily table the next items to move on to citizen comments on items on the work session agenda.
We have one more consent item.
Okay, I think we'll have time. Okay, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 2 minutes here in work session or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. If time expires, please respect her direction and include any comments. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner or to city staff or to the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. Citizens are now invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
All right, we have no comments. If everyone's all right, we'll return to item 8 on our consent agenda. Authorized purchase of airbag systems for fire department, resolution number 26-1880. Director Tate.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize for coming in a few minutes late. I'm sure Justin, I appreciate Justin being here tonight. I'm sure he was probably thinking he was on the hook. But Justin was instrumental in this resolution. This resolution is to seek authorization to purchase an airbag system for fire stations 1 and 2. And this is basically it's an air scrubber. Whenever fire engines are cranked up and they have other devices that they tend to operate in the bays, it creates fumes and carbon monoxide and other particulates that can settle on turnout gear and the equipment they use, and potentially creating an unhealthy situation. So this system is designed to remove those contaminants from the air and keep the air in the bay space clean. Chief Seiler had been looking at this and had been considering when the commission approved the ARPA spending plan for the facilities improvement funding back in March of 22. This was the kind of stuff that we started looking at for facility improvements, and we waited and gotten this far along. And it's with Chief Seiler's research and Justin negotiating with the contractor. And then just last commission meeting, you approved our use of the GSA as a cooperative purchasing agent, which allowed us to expedite receiving this equipment. So this purchase will go in fire stations 1 and 2. It was not budgeted in the municipal budget, FY26 municipal budget, but rather will be paid for out of the ARPA spending plan for facilities improvements.
Thank you, Director. Do you all have a system like this currently? Oh, okay. That's not good.
Well, it's called 4 bay doors up.
Okay.
Like a ventilator?
Yes, ma'am, but it is, it's packed with HEPA filters, and it's got certain triggers and things that activate it. There's many different kinds, but this will be suspended from the ceiling, and it will decontaminate. I don't know, I just can't get away from that military word. It will decontaminate the entire Bay Area, and it's highly efficient.
So it switches on when it senses fumes. Or the-
Well, I think it runs constantly and
Okay.
keeps the air, but, you know, there's different versions of it. There are some that do that. There are some that open doors whenever, a carbon monoxide alarm comes on, but this is just basically a simple air purifier for a large area.
And is there like a, I'm not trying to say, how long do they typically last? Or is it just really a matter of replacing the
Well,
filters every
It's
so often?
replacing the filters.
Okay.
There's, I think it's 2-stage filters. One has to be replaced about every 4 months and another one every 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
But they're just replaceable disposable filter systems, but they're HEPA filters, so they're not just cheap oil.
You mentioned raising the bay doors. Is the current system with this air scrubbing system allow us to keep the bay doors closed for more of the year, like in inclement weather, heat and cold, for example?
Yes, ma'am.
So might we see some savings in our utility expenditures as a result of this air scrubbing system?
Absolutely, especially on the gas side.
I
Okay.
didn't put her up asking that, by the way.
That's a great question.
It is.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Very good. Thank you. Item number 9, first reading to appoint Brian Haas as interim judge for 3/25/2026 through 4/24/2026, ordinance number 26-1299. And I think we all know what this is about. We will just be talking about reappointing Judge Haas to sit in for Judge Houston while he's out, continues to be out. Item number 10, our beer board meeting, Julie Galea, doing business as the Spritzeria, request to serve beer on premise at 39 State Boulevard. Any questions about that at this time? We'll have the hearing in the regular meeting at 6. Okay, wonderful. And same with item 11, public hearing to receive public comment on rezoning from R1A residential to R2 residential for 520 Gap Road. First reading of ordinance number 26-1300, and a public hearing to receive public comment on rezoning from R1 residential to R2 residential for 3390 Easton Avenue. And first reading of draft, is it still a draft? Yes, okay. Ordinance number 26-1301. Any questions at this time? Is everyone okay to wait till we have our public hearings during the regular meeting to ask questions at that time? Yeah. Okay. All right. And in that case, item number 13, do we have any other business to discuss? Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and adjourn our work session and we'll return at 6 p.m. for our regular meeting.